Elena Ross had just finished a long, exhausting shift at the hospital. Her feet ached, and all she wanted was to sit in her car for a few quiet minutes before driving home. The night was cold and rainy, droplets softly tapping against the windshield. Her phone buzzed. She picked it up, expecting maybe a message from a coworker or a patient's update. But when she saw the sender, Mark, her older brother, she smiled faintly. Then she read the message. "Hey, just sold your old house. We needed the money for Mom's bills. You weren't using it anyway." Elena froze. Her breath caught in her throat. The world seemed to stop for a moment. Sold my old house? That house wasn't just a property. It was her late father's home, the one he had built with his own hands. It was the only thing he left her after he passed away. Every brick, every corner of that house carried his memory. She read the message again, her heart racing. Mark sounded so calm, so casual, as if selling it without asking her was normal. Her fingers trembled as she called him. Once, twice, straight to voicemail. She tried again, whispering, "Come on, Mark, pick up." Nothing. Elena dropped the phone onto the passenger seat and stared out at the rain. Streetlights blurred through the water running down her window. Her reflection looked pale and broken, as if the message had drained the life out of her. She opened her father's old keychain in her hand, the one that once held the house keys, and her eyes filled with tears. How could her own brother sell something so precious, and not even tell her first? Questions flooded her mind. Why did he do it? Was Mom really that sick? Or was Mark hiding something? Elena's stomach twisted. Something about this didn't feel right. That house was worth much more than a few $100,000. The land alone was valuable. Developers had been buying old homes in that area for big money. Could it be that Mark knew that? She turned on the car's engine but didn't drive. Her heart was too heavy, her thoughts too loud. She looked at the message again, each word cutting deeper than the last. You weren't using it anyway. Her brother had taken away the one thing she had left of her father, and didn't even sound sorry. As the rain poured harder, Elena made a silent promise to herself. She was going to find out exactly why Mark sold that house, and what else he wasn't telling her. Because something about this didn't just feel unfair. It felt wrong. We learned that Elena grew up in a simple, hard-working family. Her father, Robert Ross, was a construction worker who spent most of his life building homes for others. The small house he built for his own family was special. Every brick was placed by his own hands. It wasn't fancy, but it was filled with love, laughter, and the smell of her mother's cooking. When Elena was a little girl, she used to sit outside and watch her father work. He'd smile at her and say, "Someday, this house will always be yours, my little helper." She didn't understand what he meant back then, but those words stayed in her heart. Things changed when her parents divorced. The family broke apart quietly, without shouting or drama, but the pain lingered. Her brother, Mark, decided to stay with their mother, Margaret, who was softer and easier on him. Elena, on the other hand, stayed with her father. She was closer to him. She helped him with his medicine, cooked his meals, and kept the house running. Robert grew older and sicker, and Elena was the one who stood by him until the very end. She worked part-time at a clinic while caring for him, often skipping meals and sleep. She never complained. She just wanted to make him proud. When he passed away, he left everything he had, especially the house, to her. It was his final way of saying thank you. But after his death, Elena found it too painful to live there. The rooms were filled with memories of him. His old tools, his favorite chair, his laughter echoing in the walls. So she moved out of state for work, taking a job as a nurse in a big city. She promised herself she'd come back one day, fix the house, and make it beautiful again. But life got busy, long shifts, bills, and responsibilities, and the house stayed empty for years. Meanwhile, Mark's life didn't go as smoothly. He was always the charming one, the golden boy of the family. Their mother adored him. When he got into trouble, she covered for him. When he made mistakes, she called them bad luck. He jumped from one job to another, never sticking to anything. Every time something went wrong, he had someone to save him, especially their mother. Elena often sent him money when he said he needed help, though he rarely paid her back. Their mother, Margaret, was kind but blind when it came to her son. "He just needs another chance," she'd say. "He's doing his best." Elena had heard those words too many times. Still, she never argued. She loved her family deeply, even when it hurt. Now years later, their mother was sick. Medical bills were piling up, and Mark was once again struggling with money. But instead of asking Elena for help, he made a decision on his own, to sell the house. He didn't call her. He didn't explain. He just did it, as if the house didn't belong to her at all. For Mark, taking what wasn't his wasn't new. He always believed he could fix things later, or that someone would forgive him. But this time he had crossed a line. Elena had sacrificed her comfort, her peace, and her youth for their father. And the one thing she received for that love, her father's house, was now gone because of her brother's selfish choice. Deep down, she still believed Mark wasn't completely bad. Maybe he was just desperate, scared, or lost. But she also knew this time couldn't be brushed aside. That house wasn't just a building. It was her father's legacy, the last piece of him that existed in the world. And now it was gone. Elena didn't know yet how badly Mark had betrayed her, but she could already feel it. That same ache in her chest she had felt the day her father died. Only this time, it wasn't grief taking something from her. It was her own brother. Elena travels back to her hometown the next morning. Her hands grip the steering wheel tightly as she drives through the familiar streets she once knew so well. The small town looks the same, quiet, calm, and full of memories she didn't want to face. But today, she isn't here for memories. She's here for answers. When she reaches her mother's house, her heart beats faster. Her brother Mark's car is parked outside. She takes a deep breath and knocks on the door. Her mother, Margaret, opens it, surprised to see her. Elena? You didn't say you were coming. I didn't plan to, Elena replies softly. Is Mark home? Before her mother can answer, Mark walks in from the kitchen, looking slightly annoyed. What's with the surprise visit? He asks, pretending to be casual. Elena holds up her phone. You sold Dad's house. Mark sighs and rubs his forehead. Elena, please, don't start this. We needed the money for Mom's treatment. You weren't using it anyway. For Mom's treatment? She repeats, her voice shaking. You sold a house that wasn't yours, without even asking me. He shrugs. It's not a big deal. I got a good price, around $200,000. It covered most of the hospital bills. Elena's eyes widen. $200,000? Are you serious? That property is worth way more than that. Mark avoids her gaze. Well, maybe, but it was old. Needed repairs. Nobody was interested. My friend helped me find a buyer. It's done now, so just let it go. Elena's anger rises, but she tries to stay calm. I want to see the documents, she says firmly. He freezes for a second. I don't have them right now. My friend handled the paperwork. He's got everything. What friend? Just someone I know from work, he says quickly, looking away. Elena studies his face. He's nervous, his eyes shifting, his tone defensive. She knows him too well. He's hiding something. Later that afternoon, Elena drives to the county office to check the property records herself. The clerk pulls up the file on the computer and prints a copy. As she reads through the pages, her heart starts pounding. The buyer isn't a private person. It's a large real estate company known for flipping houses near the new commercial area being built on the east side of town. Developers have been buying up old homes there, turning them into luxury apartments and office buildings. Her father's house was right in the middle of that zone. Elena does a quick search on her phone. Similar properties nearby were selling for millions. One even sold last month for over $7 million. Her legs feel weak. She sits down, gripping the papers tightly. The truth hits her like a wave. Mark didn't just make a mistake. He sold her house far below its real value. And judging by how quickly the sale happened, it seems like he knew. She leaves the office, her mind racing. The rain begins to fall again, just like the night she got his message. But this time, the sadness in her chest is mixed with something stronger, determination. She drives back to her motel, her hands shaking as she dials her lawyer's number. Hi, this is Elena Ross, she says, trying to keep her voice steady. I need to talk about a property that was sold without my permission. That night, she can't sleep. She keeps thinking about her father. How hard he worked for that house, how proud he was of it. He had trusted his children to take care of what he built. And now, the brother she once defended and helped so many times had betrayed her in the worst possible way. Elena wipes away her tears and looks at her father's photo on her phone. I'll fix this, Dad, she whispers. I promise. Elena hires a lawyer the next morning. She wants to know everything about how her house was sold without her permission. Her lawyer, Mr. Daniels, is calm but serious as he listens to her story. Don't worry, he says. We'll find out exactly what happened. If your brother sold it illegally, there will be proof. Days pass as they gather documents and trace the money from the sale. The deeper they look, the worse it gets. One afternoon, Mr. Daniels calls her into his office. His expression is firm. Elena, I found something you need to see. He slides a folder across the desk. Inside are copies of bank transfers and emails from the buyer. One line makes her heart sink. Consultant fee, $120,000 wired to Mark Ross. Elena stares at it in disbelief. Consultant fee? To Mark? Mr. Daniels nods. Yes, it seems your brother didn't sell the house for your mother's treatment. He sold it for himself. He received a personal payment after the sale went through. Elena feels her chest tighten. The room spins slightly. She whispers, he lied to me again. She leaves the office and sits in her car for a long time, staring at the dashboard. All the memories of her childhood with Mark come flooding back. How he used to lie to get out of trouble. How their mother always protected him. How she was the one who quietly cleaned up the mess every time. Later that evening, she visits her mother. Margaret is sitting on the couch, looking weak but calm. When Elena tells her what she found, her mother's face pales, but she doesn't look shocked, just tired. Mom, Elena says, voice trembling. Mark took money from the sale. He didn't do it for you. He did it for himself. Her mother closes her eyes. He's still your brother, Elena. Don't destroy him over money. Elena steps back, hurt and angry. Money? That house was Dad's life's work. He built it with his hands. Mark stole it and lied to us both. Margaret sighs. He made a mistake. He's just desperate. Please don't take this to court. It will ruin our family. Tears well up in Elena's eyes. He already ruined it, Mom. That night, she sits alone in her motel room. The air feels heavy. She looks at an old family photo on her phone. Her father smiling, her mother holding her hand, and Mark standing proudly beside them. They look so close then. She wonders when it all fell apart. The next day, she receives a text from an unknown number. It's from Mark. We need to talk. Stop digging before you regret it. Her hands tighten around the phone. She can feel her heart racing again. Part fear, part anger. That evening, Mark shows up at her motel. He bangs on the door, loud enough for the whole floor to hear. Elena! Open the door, he shouts. When she finally opens it, he storms inside. Eyes wild and furious. You think you're better than me now? Hiring lawyers? Trying to put me in jail. Elena keeps her distance. I just want the truth, Mark. You sold Dad's house behind my back. He laughs bitterly. You left. You moved away and forgot about us. I had to handle everything. Mom's bills, her medicine, the house. I did what I had to do. By stealing, she snaps. By taking a $120,000 payment. And pretending it was for Mom's care? Mark's face changes. Guilt flickers for a second, then disappears. You don't understand what it's like. You always had Dad's attention. You were his favorite. I got nothing. For once, I wanted something for myself. Elena feels her eyes sting with tears, but she doesn't look away. Dad trusted you too, Mark. And you betrayed that trust. Mark steps closer, his tone turning cold. You're ruining this family. You always think you're the hero, but you're not. You're selfish. Elena takes out her phone quietly and starts recording. Say that again, she says softly. He notices and scoffs. Recording me now? Wow. You've really changed. I had to, she replies. Because you never do. He slams the door as he leaves, shouting down the hall. You'll regret this, Elena. Mom will never forgive you. Elena stands there shaking, but this time she doesn't cry. She feels something stronger. A quiet strength rising inside her. Later, she sends the recording to her lawyer as evidence. Mr. Daniels replies almost instantly. Good move. We'll use this. He just admitted his guilt. Days turn into weeks as the investigation continues. Elena learns more about the company that bought her house. They knew Mark wasn't the legal owner, but they went through with the sale anyway because he forged documents using her old signature. Each new detail feels like another knife to her heart. But she keeps going. Her mother stops answering her calls. The silence hurts, but Elena understands. Margaret can't face the truth. Every night, Elena sits by her motel window, watching the lights flicker outside. She whispers to herself, "I'm not doing this out of hate. I'm doing this because it's right." She remembers her father's words from long ago. Always stand up for what's yours, even if it hurts. Now for the first time in her life, she's doing exactly that. Mark may have broken her trust, but he will not break her spirit. And as she prepares for the next step, taking legal action, she finally realizes something she should have known long ago. Being quiet and kind had only ever protected everyone but her. This time, she's protecting herself. Mark and the buyer planned it all months ago. That's what Elena's lawyer discovered after days of digging through emails and financial records. The truth was clear now. This wasn't a mistake or an act of desperation. It was a plan. Mark had used Elena's old paperwork from when their father passed away. He scanned her old signature and used it to create fake digital documents that made it look like she had agreed to sell the house. The buyer, knowing this, went along with it because the deal was too good to refuse. When Mr. Daniels, her lawyer, showed her the proof, Elena felt sick to her stomach. Her hands trembled as she looked at the screen, reading the emails between Mark and the buyer. "She doesn't live here anymore," Mark had written. "She won't even notice." Elena closed her eyes, her heart breaking. Her brother, the boy who used to chase her around the yard, the one who held her hand at their father's funeral, had betrayed her in the cruelest way possible. "This is fraud," Mr. Daniels said. "We have everything we need to press charges." Elena nodded slowly. "I want to confront him first." That evening, she drove to her mother's house one last time. Her heart was heavy, but her mind was clear. She walked inside without knocking. Mark and their mother were sitting in the living room. He looked surprised to see her. "You again," he muttered. Elena set her phone on the table, recording everything. "I know everything, Mark. The fake documents. The emails. The forged signature." Mark froze. "What are you talking about?" She stepped closer. "Don't lie. You and the buyer planned this months ago. You didn't do it for Mom. You did it because you thought I'd never come back." For a moment, the room went silent. Their mother looked from one to the other, confused and scared. Then Mark snapped. "You left. You always left," he shouted. "You went off to live your perfect life while I stayed here. Dad gave you everything and I got nothing." Elena stared at him, her voice calm but cold. "Dad gave me the house because I took care of him. You never even visited him in the hospital. You didn't want the responsibility. You just want what's easy." Mark's voice cracked as he yelled, "I was broke. You have no idea what it's like to watch everything fall apart. I thought if I sold the house fast, I could fix things before anyone noticed." Elena's eyes filled with tears. "So you stole from your own sister? From Dad's memory?" Mark's anger faded into shame. His shoulders slumped. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I just needed help." Margaret finally spoke, tears running down her face. "Mark, tell me this isn't true." He didn't answer. He couldn't. Elena turned to her mother. "He forged my name, Mom. He sold Dad's house for money. And now he's blaming me for it." Her mother covered her face, sobbing. "Please, Elena. Don't go to the police. He's still your brother. You'll destroy him." Elena stood there, torn between anger and pain. For years, she had been the one who gave in, the one who stayed silent to keep the peace. But this time, something inside her had changed. She looked at her mother and said softly, "I didn't destroy him, Mom. He destroyed himself." Mark looked up, his eyes red. "You're really going to do this to me?" "I'm doing this for me," she said firmly. "And for Dad. He built that house with love and honesty. You turned it into a lie." Her mother reached out, crying harder now. "Please, Elena. Don't press charges. We can fix this as a family." Elena shook her head slowly. "No, Mom. Some things can't be fixed." Mark stood there silently, his pride finally broken. For the first time he looked small, not the confident, charming brother she grew up with, but a man who had lost everything because of his own choices. Elena picked up her phone and stopped the recording. She turned toward the door. "I'll let the court handle it," she said quietly. "I'm done protecting people who don't deserve it." As she walked out, the house behind her filled with her mother's sobs and Mark's silence. The evening sky was fading into darkness, but for Elena, it felt like the first real moment of light. For once in her life, she wasn't the quiet, forgiving sister. She was the one standing up for herself. And for the truth. Elena files charges for fraud, though it tears her apart to do it. She never imagined she would one day take her own brother to court, but she knows it's the only way to make things right. Her father's house wasn't just a piece of land. It was his life's work, his love, his legacy. And she refuses to let anyone destroy that, not even her family. The case moves forward quickly. With the clear evidence of Mark's forged signature and the buyer's cooperation, the truth comes out. The real estate company realizes they were part of an illegal sale and agrees to void the deal after legal pressure from Elena's lawyer. Elena wins the case, but it doesn't feel like victory. When the judge declares the sale invalid, she feels relief, but also a deep sadness. Mark is sentenced to a short prison term for fraud and forgery. Her mother, Margaret, breaks down in court, unable to believe how far things have gone. After that day, she refuses to speak to either of them. Elena visits her mother several times, but every time she knocks on the door, there's no answer. Sometimes she sees the curtain move, a sign that her mother is there, but still, she won't open the door. The silence between them is heavier than any words could be. Months pass. The house stands empty once again, just as it did before all the chaos began. The walls are cracked, the paint is faded, and the air smells of dust and old memories. But this time, it belongs to Elena, legally and fully. She stands in front of it one morning, the sun shining softly on the roof her father once built. She closes her eyes and imagines him there beside her, smiling. She decides it's time to let go. She contacts a trusted realtor and puts the house on the market. It doesn't take long before it sells, for $7.1 million. When she signs the final papers, she feels something shift inside her. Not joy, not sadness, but peace. The long fight is finally over. Elena doesn't keep all the money for herself. She donates a large portion to the local hospital where her father once received treatment, naming a new wing after him, the Robert Ross Care Center. With the rest of the money, she starts something new, a small health clinic in her hometown. It's not big or fancy, but it's warm, welcoming, and free for those who can't afford medical care. She names it Ross Family Health Clinic. Standing outside on the opening day, Elena watches children run past the building, and neighbors come inside to look around. For the first time in years, she feels proud, not for what she lost but for what she rebuilt. Mark is released after serving his time. She doesn't see him, though she hears from others that he's trying to start over quietly. Her mother still won't talk to her, but Elena has stopped waiting. She understands now that healing doesn't always mean everyone comes back together. Sometimes it means finding peace on your own. One evening, as the sun sets behind the clinic, Elena sits on the porch with a cup of tea. The sky turns orange and gold, and she whispers softly, "I did it, Dad. I finally protected what you built." The wind blows gently, rustling the trees nearby, and for a moment, she feels as if her father is there, proud, watching over her. Elena smiles faintly. The pain may never fully fade, but she has turned her heartbreak into something good, something lasting. She may have lost her family's closeness, but she gained something far more precious: strength, self-respect, and the peace of knowing she stood up for what was right. Elena visits her father's grave with a letter in her hand. The morning air is cool, and the grass is still wet with dew. She kneels down beside the gravestone, brushing off a few fallen leaves. For a long moment, she just sits there quietly, feeling the calm around her. Then, she unfolds the letter and begins to read softly. "Dad, you built that house with your hands. Every wall, every brick, had your love in it. I finally learned what it means to protect what you've built. Not just the house, but our name, our values, our strength." Her voice shakes a little, but she keeps reading. "It hurt to lose so much. It hurt to fight my own family. But I think you'd be proud of how it ended. The house is gone now, but something better came from it. Your name will live on, helping people, healing others, just like you always wanted." She folds the letter gently and places it against the gravestone, weighing it down with a small white flower. For a while, she stands there in silence, the wind softly blowing through her hair. Then she whispers, "Rest easy, Dad. I'm okay now." She turns and walks away, slower at first, then with a steadier step. The weight she's carried for so long seems to lift with each stride. She's no longer the quiet, broken woman who kept the peace. She's someone stronger, someone free. As she drives away from the cemetery, her phone buzzes. A message flashes on the screen. "I'm sorry." From Mark. Elena looks at it for a few seconds. Then she sets the phone down. She doesn't reply, but a faint, peaceful smile appears on her lips. Not forgiveness yet, but peace. Hi besties. Two Hearts, thank you so much for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more emotional dramas. See you in the next one. Bye. Waving hand.